Right, we are live. Hello, everyone, and it's another week, another Monday, another Facebook broadcast. Thanks for everyone for watching. If you're watching back on catch up, well, thank you very much. Also, just to give you a bit of background, the why I do this every twice a week is just to some shameless promoting of people's businesses to help them out. Also, just to spread a bit of love and show that there is business being done despite difficult period of time that we're in. Business is being done, certainly in Lancashire, certainly in the northwest of England. Today, I'm joined by Gareth Haggerty, who is, he owns a business, which is, I never thought I'd actually have your kind of business, Gareth, that I'd be talking to, because whilst it's usual, whilst people need it, it's not always promoted, is it? You don't see adverts. Well, I don't anyway for your type of business. So welcome. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
Tell us a little bit about yourself. Go on. Tell us how did it all start, all this? Where have you come from? I mean, you're a Manchester lad.
Yeah, so, born and bred Manchester ways. Family's originally from up in Derbyshire. Dad's half of the family's from Ireland. But I think over the time we've integrated and got closer and moved closer to the city, really. But yeah.
So, I mean, have you always thought, you know what, this is what I want to be? I want to get kind of people's. I mean, this is a very simplistic version, I feel, of what you do, and you're going to educate me, I'm sure. But you recover people's debts, or there's got to be a lot more to it, is there, or is it that's how simple as it is?
Yeah, as my wife would always say, I've gone from hero to zero from my previous life to my life that I've been doing now for over 14 years. So yeah, I became a bailiff. Not many people like that, and I don't get many Christmas cards, unfortunately.
No.
It's a very, very delicate industry to be in for obvious reasons, the current climate. But yeah, it goes from anything from county court judgment orders to removing trespassers to all the way through to tracing somebody and issuing divorce papers to your partner.
So take us right back then. Right back. How did you start? You came out of college or university or school. How's that moved on?
My dad was a bailiff. My granddad was a bailiff. So for me, it started in secondary school. I used to be able to see Oldham Council offices from my school playground, and I knew my dad was up there doing his bailiff work, always wondering what he did. And then work experience came along, and most kids are going off working at McDonald's, or they're going off working at the Brother companies or whoever it may be across the industry. And I went off and said, "Miss, I want to go with the Oldham Council bailiffs." So yeah, it was an experience, and I loved every minute
Did you?
So, yeah.
What was the bit that you liked most? What was it that you liked most about it?
It's more just you can meet different people from every single level. Nobody's immune to obviously owing money or getting into that position. Really. So you're really seeing the back life of how people live and go about the day-to-day business.
Yeah. Okay. And I mean, what have you got any unusual tales? I mean, you can't tell us specifics, but what's the most unusual thing that you've kind of had to deal with?
I mean, from being a kid when I went out with Oldham Council bailiffs, the first ever job we ever came across, it was a large muffin factory in Oldham, and it was run by a big mafia Greek cartel, if you like. They were dodgy dealers. And they kidnapped one of the bailiffs and put him in the back of a Jag, and he had a big bodyguard, the owner. And I was 14, 15, if that. And I was in behind the van watching, and my dad goes up, negotiated with them, and they released the other bailiff. And next thing, money gets pulled out, and they paid the business rates that they owed at the time. But from that point, I loved it. But from my own personal experience, I've had everything. From being stabbed in the side to a three-legged dog called Jippo who picked me on the back of my car, to meeting some of the most wonderful people. You get it from one extreme to the other, really.
Yeah. Are you a type of person that when you've finished your day's work, it completely goes out your mind, or do you have to be like that, or do you kind of carry it around with you?
Yeah, it goes on with you. It ends up being in your blood, really. It's in your skin, it's in your hair, it's everywhere. You feel it from the day you leave that job, and you are going home thinking, did I manage that correctly? Did I read the situation right. Did I make it escalate when I shouldn't have made it escalate? Because you are dealing with people's emotions, and you don't know what somebody's mind frames in when you knock on that door. So you can't control the way they react to you. You can only control the way you react back to them. So it's a very, very difficult job, especially at this moment in time, really.
Of course. I mean, the job, is it majority person management then, rather than, I mean, there's rules and there's procedures to follow.
Oh, yeah, the rules and procedures are massive. They've got to be there regardless. I mean, for what I'm trying to do in my industry, I'm trying to change the face of the industry from that old school, bailiff on the door that was a bully, to bringing a new modern compliance certificated enforcement agent that identifies vulnerability. And then we pass it to relevant authorities. There's multiple times you can turn up to somebody's house and you've left children upstairs, under the age of 5, and you're knocking on the door, and you can come across everything really. But it's learning how to identify it and pass it through the chain.
So is there a situation where you've identified where you do approach it differently from how people perceive enforcement companies to be?
Yeah, I mean, the bottom line is we've still got a job to do. Our job isn't to take sides of the claimant or the defendant. So when the High Court writs do come out, we don't know the background of that case. Only know that they've got balance outstanding, and we have to take control of goods when we get to that premises. We're not actually there to take money. We're there to look at assets. And then from that point, then we have to assess that situation. If you're in a position that, if you've got a Bentley on your drive and a Breitling watch, then, and you're telling me you can't pay it, but then you do go to cases where, they've looked if you've got bread in the cupboard, really. So you've got to judge the situation and assess it as best you can, really.
So a little bit about the company. You started it many, many years ago, and it's grown from a very small seed.
Yeah. So like I said, when I was at school, once I left school, then I became a joiner. I had 4 guys working for me at the time, a couple of vans, and was doing kitchens and laminate flooring and everything that you could think of. But my biggest ambition in life was to join the British Armed Forces. So I joined the Armed Forces, the King's Regiment, Manchester and Liverpool, and then I did multiple operational tours around the world. But I knew my biggest destiny, if you like, was to become a bailiff and one day form my own company. So I think 14 years ago, what was it, 7 months and so many days ago, then I left the army. I literally had 2 weeks off. And then I became a bailiff, so that's where the Aero to Zero comes from. I've been in the industry now for 14 odd years, but I knew I wanted to be a bailiff for at least 10 years, just because of my injury. I was still in my early 20s. Wanted to learn how the industry works. I worked for some of the largest companies across the country. I've been from Brighton up to Carlisle, from Liverpool to Kings Lynn. So I've worked right across the country. And just learn how the processes and procedures these large companies do, and how I could better the industry. But what I didn't realise from doing that sort of technique, I learned then how difficult a bailiff actually has it on the ground. The impact is on the bailiffs, because there's some really, really good guys out there and girls. But it was more about how we can get a better breed of bailiff in the industry, if you like. So my idea was, from that point, was then to bring in former armed forces into the bailiff industry. What was it, about 1st of September 2018, I think I formed co-enforcement specialists, with obviously my company. And my main aim was there for bringing former armed forces into a level 3 course, which the military paid for. We're getting them qualified up beyond most of other companies across the country, and then we get them out, obviously enforcing on our behalf now. So from there, then I formed my company, like I said, 19 months ago, and I managed to build up to 60 ICO enforcement agents across the country.
And you are nationwide.
Yeah, like I said, all the way from Brighton up to Carlisle, but we can be anywhere within the country within an hour. So we have a quick reaction enforcement team. So, if you get an encampment of travellers pulling up on a Tesco car park, for instance, we can be there ready to serve them within an hour. So
Brilliant.
that's the ability from bringing former armed forces into this industry. The quick to react. I've had guys who've been with family having a christening, and they've got the kit and equipment in the boot, had to kiss the kids and the missus, and off they go to the job. So, it's interesting.
Absolutely, yeah. It's I mean, one question I do want to ask you is your industry is tough enough in its own way, but you've obviously had to build a business at the same time. Yeah. So you've had it both ways. I mean, what are some of the challenges that you've had, the difficulty you've had in building the business as well in a difficult industry?
Yeah, I mean, I don't look like a bailiff. I don't act like a bailiff. An old bailiff would act, if you like. So I think a lot of people are taken back when I do say what type of industry that I'm in, and especially the negative impact the industry does have. So you have to post something on social media and you get a massive backlash, or you might get people who side with you. So it's a really, really difficult balance to get it right in business. I think I'm probably in the hardest industry you could be in throughout the country. It's not an easy industry to be in, but it's baby steps and trying to make the firm grow, really.
Yeah, absolutely. And having the right support as well, having the right people around you has got to help.
Yeah, people are massive in any industry, any business. When we go out to enforce the majority of businesses, it's because they've failed somewhere with the staff they've taken on, or the way that people have conducted themselves. So yeah, staff are massive. Massive.
Absolutely right. And of course, yeah, you're absolutely right. Of course, we're going through this period of all our lives now. It's of course it's tough for business. How has it impacted? Has it impacted your industry and your business the last?
I mean, with the COVID-19, nobody's seen it coming.
No,
it's in every single business across the country. I think was it the 25th? Was it the Prime Minister spoke 23rd? What was it, 2 months ago or so now?
Yeah, 2 months, yeah.
Stopped us and locked down the country. So, I want to say as any other business owner where, panic comes in initially, disbelief, you don't know what direction things are going to go, how long it's going to last for, how are you going to survive, what's going to happen to your staff. There's all these questions that come into your mind, but I think the Prime Minister and his staff around him have done a fantastic job up to this point. And it has really eased a lot of business, especially with the grants that they're offering, with with the small business bounce back loans to furloughing staff. I think they have done a tremendous job, but there is going to be people out there that are not in that position where they can get the business support. The Ministry of Justice last month, I think it was on the 24th, stepped in, stopped all enforcement action across the country, which I think was the right choice. Like commercial landlords now can't forfeit leases. So forfeiture of leases obviously on their contract where someone fails to pay the rent, or they might not pay the full amount, or they might not pay on time. Landlords have the power then on commercial. They don't have to go to court. They can forfeit your lease and basically remove you from the premises. Or they can do CRA, which is commercial rent arrears recovery.
Yeah.
So they can instruct me to knock on your door at commercial premises and then ask for full payment. But now, since the Prime Minister and the Ministry of Justice steps in, they stopped all that action, which I think is great. They stopped residential evictions. But it's where it's going to happen at the other end of it. When will it start up again?
I mean, what's your view on that then? Is your view that, I mean, of course, whilst it would negatively impact your business directly, it's great for other people, industry who may be struggling because of COVID. So how does that re-engagement, that unlock down look like to you?
Well, I think it's a strange position to be in because your corner shop's absolutely booming at the minute. They're earning more money than they've ever, because nobody wants to go than within the corner shop. These businesses what are actually massively profiting. You've seen like Gucci making face masks. Some of the largest companies actually profiting off the back of it. But I'm in that industry where we can't enforce. It has stopped, completely stopped. So I think it's one of them as well where you'll get large companies wanting relief from rent holidays when they can actually afford to pay it. You've got these companies that have actually got the cash in the bank to do it, but they're choosing to take the benefits from the government. So it's trying to balance who can't pay and who won't pay, really. So I think once the button house press, the bailiff has got a very, very, very difficult job when he finally starts knocking on their doors again to try and work out who's lying and who's telling the truth. So it's going to be a real balancing act. I think it's just baby steps, and try and take in more compassion, more empathy, and try and work out who's telling the truth and who's lying, because it's a really difficult job, because you'll get people who will lie to you blunt in your face. You don't believe what they're saying, or you do believe, and then at the end you've been lying all along. They've had them on it, so it's going to be a very, very difficult time. I'm going to be busy, aren't I? Either way.
You're going to be. Yeah, I mean, I don't know when that date's going to be, but certainly you're not going to be having many nights where you don't sleep very well. You're going to be that busy. I have to say.
We're really busy, but for all the wrong reasons, and that's my biggest concern, really. There is other underlying problems within society at the minute, within business. I don't even know what the stats are on suicide at the minute, but they're high with business owners who've massively been impacted at the minute. And it's not about that being a bailiff, it's about seeing the businesses, run well, but then the time for to just have an unpaid invoice, for instance, or it's come to that level, then we step in and get it cleared up for somebody.
It's such a fine balance, isn't it? That it's such a fine balance between compassion. I mean, I know you training for your guys and girls that work with you must be high up on your priority list to train them on that compassion, that understanding people's situation, but actually getting the job done.
Yeah, I mean, it's two sides to any story. And a lot of the time, people say, we've got travellers on the land next to where I live, and they're causing the mess. You're saying all these horrible things, they're coming across quite racist to them as well. But, when you actually get out there and speak to the traveller community, 99.9% of them are really nice people.
Yeah.
They're living in their own world, their own community, but they do stop occasionally while they're travelling across the country. But they do get a massive backlash from, especially Facebook and other platforms. But then, on the other side of it, then you'll get somebody who states that they're vulnerable, they're a single mum, they can't afford this, they can't afford that, but then, they've got a name like Katie Price who lives in a mansion and drives around in a pink Range Rover. So it's really hard. You can't judge a book by its cover until you get out there.
Yeah. So and you've you said that you've kind of, not going to specifics, but you've mothballed things until things get going. I mean, how have you coped? Because you're right, it's a mental thing as well. As a business owner, it must have been a huge shock when they kind of said, right, lockdown was coming on. How are you keeping yourself ready to go for when it all kicks off again?
So my advice to anyone, really, I think from being former armed forces and the guys being in that mentality, you can get comfortable on a camp anywhere in the country, you get yourself all set up, and then all of a sudden all your stuff goes in a cardboard MFO box and off your ships away abroad, and you've got to try and reset yourself and get yourself in some sort of orderly fashion. And it's no different from this, really, in the sense that there have been sideways, people have been furloughed, people have been let go from companies. There's people out there who are self-employed who are stuck at home and can't pick up work. So I think you've got to be ready to change on a 50p piece, really.
Yeah.
You've got to be ready and you've got to adapt to it. I mean, me as a business owner there, we have completely had to stop enforcement action. So for me, it was absolutely sideways. But what that's allowed me to do, rather than working within the business or on the business or whatever where you want to look at it, it's stopping out. What's the word, in the sense of where I'm having to worry about staff worries when I'm talking to the agents, keeping them busy because they've got no work now. It's allowed me now to just concentrate within the business, within the processes, within our procedures, work on the system better. So I think once we're operational again, we're going to be stronger than ever before, really.
Brilliant. And what keeps you occupied outside of work then? Not every no bailiffs could just, that's all they do for a living. You obviously wind down somehow.
Yeah, I mean, I got married when I was in the military. We had a massive military wedding. We went up to the South Pacific. We did a month in the Cook Islands. And then 10 years later, a few years back, we promised we was always going to go there. So when I left the military, we've had two beautiful children, and we took them around the world a few years back and relived what we did. So my life is my foundation. It's my family, obviously, but it's having that dream within your business, that get your foundations right and building yourself up. So anything away from business, it's family time for me. Meeting up with friends when you can. But like we know now, like we're doing now, across the meeting like this, or with the Zoom platforms, or other stuff. He's trying to keep communication with your friends and family as well, instead.
Absolutely. You've not been doing loads of DIY like everybody else, have you? You've been painting, or?
Yeah, I mean, you end up painting the fences, don't you? You end up. I ended up sanding down the gates the other day and painting them up. I haven't stopped, but I've got a couple of rental properties as well. So the kitchen's out the other day, and we're doing a few bits there. And it's so difficult to get to any DIY store now because the queues are massive. So.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. What does the future look like then? You say you're in the face of this industry. What does the next 10 years look like for your business, and not only the industry as well?
Well, I think with all these charities, you've got Citizens Advice, you've got Step Change, you've got all these various charities. I think their voice is going to be a lot stronger now going into next year. I think they're going to bring in a couple of more regulations and loosen enforcement a little bit, give people more opportunity. So we've been looking at our processes and procedures, how we're going to go forward from this point. People now, who are in that situation where they are paying the debts, that we just advise them to get on the phone, don't hide them in the kitchen drawer or put them under the bed. Get your letters out, look at your debts, and then try and get them arrangements in place.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So we're giving people, a 3-month option, like the banks are doing.
Brilliant.
And we're reviewing it every 4 weeks to see if they're out working, if they're getting themselves busy again. And just taking it more sensitive, because as an enforcer, there's two sides of any story. It's not always the debtor that's the one at fault. There may have been a dispute, they may not have been able to get to court on time, and it's gone in the claimant's favour. So you've got to really listen to both sides before you make that decision. But in this current situation, there's no enforcement. So if anybody's getting any of them threatening debt letters and they're saying that we're coming to your door, and it won't be happening at the minute. I suggest picking up the phone to them, try and get a reasonable arrangement, be honest with yourself and what you can afford at this time.
And the business, you want to take it where?
So over the next couple of years now, we want it to obviously grow. And I've got a couple of other business ideas that I've got in the background, so I've been working on them over this COVID period. So yeah, a couple of other things to come, but it's a secret at the minute. The aim is to have a few companies up and running, get them, sustainable, get them working, and get people in work of what they enjoy, really.
And where do people go? I mean, what's a great bit of business for you? Be truthful. When a bit of business lands on your desk, you think, do you know what? This is right up our street. This, we can help out. We can also help out the person who the money's owed to, or we can also help out the person. What's that look like? We obviously get work from large solicitor clients, and where they just come in, don't know the background of the story, and then we'll get the old dear who's been ripped off by a builder who's owed £15,000 because he's started the extension, she's paid him the remaining money and he hasn't come back. So, and he's a big bloke who's a bit of a bully, still don't want to get on the phone. We get the county court judgment, escalate it to the High Court, send the High Court agents out, and you can ring her on the phone and say, we've got that £15,000 paid. So there's no better feeling than that. Yeah, I bet.
They're great at type of jobs. But then on the other end, you get jobs where you go out and enforce. And I did one a few years ago down South Wales. He owned a scuba diving company. He taught people how to scuba dive. And then I think the first recession was in 2008, was it?
Yeah.
And nobody was doing scuba diving lessons, so he wasn't paying his bills. So when we arrived, he was just in that position where he couldn't pay, and it was no fault of his own. And I think we're going to feel that as well when we get out and we're going to meet people where they're the ones that hurt. You've still got a job to do, but at the same time, we've all got hearts, we've all got family, we've all got children. And then, you're going out to see people who are entrepreneurs, done really, really well in business, and something like this comes along and takes them at the feet. So,
who do you look up to in business then? You've got someone who you think, I'd quite like to be like them, whether they're well known or not well known, that you think I like to be that style of businessman?
I came across a chap, I won't mention his name or the company, but he had a large bedroom and bathroom fitting company. And he had paid rent on one of the commercial premises. About £50,000 or so, maybe a bit more. So it gets to the main HQ of them, and this chap was just proper entrepreneur, proper wealthy. He's well up there. And it was just a miscommunication between him and who owned the commercial premises. And he put his rent and owed on 30 premises, and the rent was massive. But they hadn't done it on one, but the consent was out to enforce. But this is what you get into as you do enforcement. You get out and meet people you would never ever meet in time. But this chap, I still look up to now. We still have conversations. He is my mentor behind the scenes. But it's just somebody who started doing a kitchen fitting and then owns a multi-million-pound company. So it's interesting.
Very good. Yeah, having someone to look up to is vitally important, I think, in business, isn't it? Just somebody to pick tips up off, and I'm sure you are that to others starting out in business as well. So before we kind of leave, last couple of minutes, what's one tip that you would give to any person starting their own business right now, whatever the industry is?
What's
the thing that you think, actually, looking back, I should have done that sooner or better or whatever it may be? Is there
I always talk about traffic lights. I look at people like a traffic light. So I look at them as either red, amber, or green. Your greens are positive people like you who are out there. They're pushing forward. They're looking at other businesses, how to promote themselves. Fantastic. Them are the people you need to surround yourself with. And then you get ambers, who's usually your grandma or aunties and friends and family who are just nice people. You meet every day, but they don't really take anything from them. But then these red negative vampires, they're the ones you need to stay away from.
Okay.
They're the ones who usually the closest to you, telling you can't do this or you can't do that, or why would you want to become a bailiff? But you get all them sort of people, and they're the ones who stop you from moving forward. So I'd say surround yourself around green positives.
Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Last question: what are you having for your lunch if you haven't already had it?
Can I take you and show you where?
Please, come on. Yeah, well, let's go. Let's go. We're on.
Like any business owner, in this COVID-19 situation, you've got children at home. You're trying to homeschool. You're working from. So I through the week, I'm at the office premises. I bring the kids along with me. As obviously the director, I'm still trying to sustain and keep the business afloat. And then obviously at the weekend we try and keep it as normal as we can. But I'll take you through some of the kids.
Come on, why not? Let's have a look. Oh God, first time we've been on a tour with I've interviewed, so here we go.
So this is my daughter and my son Alfie and Millie.
Hello.
So they're currently doing homework and the geography by the
look. Good on them.
Are you doing some French, Millie, today?
Yeah.
Bonjour, très bien.
It means hello, Liam. My name is Millie. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
And this is Alfie.
Hi, Alfie.
I'm onto my science. So
very good.
So which is great as well. They can do the science. They can do all their own schooling. There's a couple of Millads in the background.
Yeah, see that? Great.
So it's a bit of everything, really.
Well, I appreciate the tour. Thank you very much. More than anything, I appreciate your time and good luck with everything. All right.
Yeah, brilliant.
And where can people go if they want to find more about you? Last thing.
So you can find me on Facebook or LinkedIn, Court Enforcement Specialist Limited, or you can go on the website. If anybody's got any outstanding debts and wants to contact me, speak to me direct today on 0161 507 0626.
Brilliant. And I'll put everything in the comments.
Yes.
Have a great day. And good luck. And I'll speak to you very soon.